course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans, to the 2023 Canadian Ultimate Championships, the senior phase of our tournament here in beautiful Surrey, British Columbia. We are here at the Newton Athletic Park Sports Complex, a beautiful place to play, which is on the traditional lands of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Quay, Quitlam, Kaikite, and Tsawwassen First Nations traditional territories of theirs. So privileged to be here, as it's been so beautiful, so fun, so sunny, so warm to be here, and this facility has been great. My name is Clayton Howlett. I'm joined here with my colleague Sahab Ansari to bring you a mixed crossover game between Spawn from New Brunswick and a local 613 from Ontario. On your screen, you will see local 613 in the navy blue and Spawn in white. This game is a pre-quarter, so it's kind of a do or die, Sahab. These teams have to win to stay in contention for the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And we know that these two teams have been fired up. They had some great pool play games, and it was not easy to be in the position that they were. And yeah, both these teams, either team that takes it is going to deserve it, right? These two teams have been working hard in their tough pools. And both teams have actually had upsets as well in their pools, Clayton.
That's right. The mixed division has kind of been all over the place at the tournament. As a fan, I love to see it. Nothing really predictable. Some teams winning their pools as they should, but otherwise Spawn had quite a run yesterday with 2 upsets.
Yeah. So Spawn coming in 15th seed into this tournament and now looking to make their 3rd upset of the tournament as we are about to get underway. Seems like the observers are just waiting for the horn to blow. And there's the horn. Hands go up. The disc has now been passed to the hands of the Spawn player.
It is a woman matching point to start the game, so it has to be a female puller. And 613 is going to start on O. Longtime UVic player Trevor Netchell picking up.
Big
and 613 starting with a huck right off the bat. A little bit far for Becker. Gainer saw that opening, but didn't quite connect. A little bit of a blade, and that toss didn't float. So Spawn setting up in a vertical offense.
We have Jesse Brown picking up the disc here. A key handler for the team and a quick block coming through And a foul called
on the throw.
On the disc.
On the throw,
disc.
yeah. So great D by Netchel.
Yeah.
He, I've been on the receiving end as well of that defensive play, Sahab.
Oh, that's.
I mean, I love it for Trevor. I hate it that he's done it to me, but he is known to make big athletic plays, and he's so fast. But Brown was fouled on that throw, so she'll get it back. She flips it to a reset and takes off for the give-go. And she'll put it up right away, but that's going to come down. Number 24, Rhea Palmer, able to stop that. And another huck from 613, floating too far.
Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be the style that we see for the remainder of the game for 613, or if they're going to bring something a little bit closer to the small ball style we've been seeing all day as we carry back onto the play here.
So another break opportunity and another huck. This one in front of receivers this time, but great defense by 613, able to run that down. 22, Quentin Malik with the defensive play. But then that throw is too high for Gaynor. He's unable to reel it in. Both teams not really connecting on their big throws right now. Fair weather.
Yeah, let's see this slow Gaynor gameplay here. So we get Brown on the disc. Brown shoots it into the end zone. And that is going to be the first break of the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Starting the game off with a break on what we've called the harder side of the field this week. While the wind has shifted, it has mainly been coming from the grandstands toward our faces and at the bottom of your screen. And we haven't seen too many goals on that end today. But starting the day off with the break, no matter what, is important.
Yeah, and as you say that, Clay, the wind wasn't really that active at the beginning of that point. And all throughout that entire point, just right at the end of it is when the wind started to pick up. And so it seemed like Spawn had a little bit of an advantage going upwind. So even though we may have said that it is the harder half of the field, it doesn't seem like it was as prevalent as much as it was during the first two games that we streamed today.
So 613's O-line will go back out there seeing some of the same personnel. Most, if not all.
Most, if not all, yeah.
I think there has to be one sub, as after the first point of the game, you do switch the gender. So we now have a male matching point. And that also means that Spawn can now elect to have a male hold the disc. I think they must. And looks like it's going to be number 61, Pierre Dagla, with the pull here. Pierre Daigle. Get my French on.
Yeah.
Daigle's pull is going to float, kind of catching the wind, but it'll sit on the correct edge to stay in the middle. Netchel fields it.
Big pull.
Flips it up to Gaynor. Gaynor finds an under to Becker. Becker, an open side pass to Malik. Looks for Gaynor. Spawn seeming to just stop the floaty high throws from 613 right now. Several cutters take off deep. Spawn puts it up. It's into coverage. And that is Hans with the D. Hans Becker keeping that alive for 613. Malik. Gaynor looking for options. Fakes the huck. 613 still having a lot of players caught deep, but falling back into their end zone. Prust puts that to Chen. And 613 thought they had it in there. But then they're able to punch it in with a little give-go between Becker and Chen. 613 on the board, getting it on the harder side of the field.
Yeah, and so as we say that, Clay, the hardest side of the field might not be playing a big part in this, as we saw in our last game that was streamed against Goat and Mephisto, right? Around the second half was when teams started to figure it out, right? How to play against this wind. And it seems like both Spawn and 613 have figured out how to play against this wind, going upwind, both showing immediately that they're able to score upwind points. Spawn, obviously, with the first break of the game, and that is a 613 hold. Although the score is currently 1-1, if you think about it in the way that Spawn now has the first touch of the disc, we would consider it in Ultimate that Spawn is up a break. So
Yeah, in the lead technically.
in the lead technically, but not quite by looking at the scoreboard. For those of you juniors players watching, you might not always experience playing the game on serve or on par, as some players like to call it, as we get ready for this local 613 poll. Looking forward to seeing if a zone might come out from 613 here.
Yeah, me too. We haven't seen defensive look yet, a defensive set that is from 613.
Yeah. And the wind has kind of died down a little bit, so perhaps maybe not as much of a zone look.
Side stack from Spawn here. Generates a huck immediately after a cut from the back of the stack. Some contact from behind. Brittany Fairweather was bonked by Avery Michaels.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of hand waving. It seemed like there is a foul being called.
It's interesting. It seems like Fairweather's explaining to everybody that all the traffic behind her didn't really allow her to continue getting her hands on the disc, because I thought she was going to get it, but there was a lot of contact from behind. All players shaking hands. It does stay with Fairweather.
Yeah. And so
Fairweather looking to dump. And there's a pick called.
So quick little pick call here. Seems like a lot of the times we're going to get these kind of picks coming in from these vertical stacks, right? We saw it a lot today as we carry on back into the play here.
Seeing let's say, chilly offense from Spawn here, taking their time. Christensen doesn't elect to go to the scoop cut. Resets to Chorus, and Chorus able to put that in to DeLon Morehouse. So Spawn with the hold. The score now 2-1. Sahab. That was really chilly offense from Spawn there. I'd give the offensive edge to Spawn right now. They've shown that they're really smart with the disc. They did have one errant huck, but so far I'd say that was their only air ball. 613 has put a lot of discs high, caused a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, and that just could be a little bit of how both teams like to play in their own styles, right? It seemed like what you were saying, Spawn was pretty relaxed there, right? Chorus and Christensen both very calm on that end zone line, and this kind of just shows that age and maturity of a team, right? So Spawn is a team from New Brunswick that's been around for quite some time. They originally started out with being a team from Frederickson, New Brunswick, and now have kind of expanded out their roster to bring in teams or players from all over New Brunswick.
Oh,
so
cool.
Big expansion for them, and I'm sure that definitely means that they're going to be bringing in some better players onto the roster.
Yeah, larger talent pool.
Yeah.
Larger chance to get some talent. 613 was centered to Netchel, but that pass from Ewens is too low, and a gift given to Spawn here. And they set up in a vertical stack end zone. Murray finds the break to O'Neill. O'Neill will go back to Murray. Brown looking to reset. Back to Murray. Doesn't like it. Front of the stack cut. Not quite there. High count. She'll try and skyball that. But Netchel, shown that he can make athletic plays, is able to get in the way, keeping it alive for this O-line.
Yeah, and that's the second or third time that we've seen Netchel make that play, right? So a lot of defensive outlook there. Look forward to seeing more from him.
Netchel looking for options. Runs out of time, and who had a read on that? But it was Molly Gallibois. She was all over that. Saw that throw from Netchel coming, ran through, gets the D. Brown with the disc in front. She'll put that out for Gallibois, but the edge, too tough to rein that in. That kind of went around her path, hard to field. Ewens is going to pick up the disc and bring it up. Horizontal set from Local 613. Cut starts right away to Kamal. That's a little too far for Prust. Hearing a lot of chili calls from Spawn here as Brown saunters up to the disc, taking her time. And there's some confusion on the call here. I think the players were confused with what the observer has said. Brown looking for options. She'll go around to O'Neill. Back to Brown. Galibois is going to look to Brown to reset. Brown doing a lot of pivoting here, a lot of anchoring. Offense is surely running through her right now. O'Neill gives it back to Brown. Brown immediately looking to a handler. She'll find Galibois hitting the ground to keep that alive. Back to Brown. And Brown calls a timeout, not seeing very much forward progress by Spawn on that point. They were really stuck back in the handler core, Sahab. So I personally agree with this timeout.
Yeah, it's a great timeout call from Brown, and she seems like a very well-seasoned veteran player of this team, right? Really commanding this offensive look for Spawn. Spawn getting ready and trying to figure out to see what happens next. And I spoke to Spawn at the beginning of this game. They actually don't have a coach. So this team is very player-coach focused and oriented, right? So this whole team kind of gets involved into the play and trying to figure out what happens. And that's why you see this really big huddle going on here. There's a lot more people involved into the play than who were just on the field. As we get this little kind of clapping cheer from both Spawn and Local 613. Quite exciting that they're joining in together.
Fun fact, 613 doesn't have a coach either.
Oh, okay.
And we haven't really featured many teams that don't have a coach. In fact, every team I think we've featured on the stream this week, mostly, almost always in the junior division, there's a coach. But these are the first two teams we've seen on the stream that don't have a coach. We've seen a lot of senior teams adopting to have a coach now, kind of a trend that's become the norm in senior ultimate in the last few years. Vertical stack seems a reversed split and come under. So O'Neill will go back to Brown. Brown looking upfield this time. She wants to get some forward progress. Was looking dump way too much last time, yet O'Neill's there for her. But you've got
great
a big D by 613. Jessie Chen getting underneath that. Netchell looking for options, finds Gaynor. Gaynor not liking what he sees. Throws a few fakes, goes back to Netchell. Netchell sees a big under to Kamal. Kamal looking to Gaynor. Gaynor dancing a little bit, but Gaynor's able to get it up the line, and he'll let that loose. And you've got Chen with the double happiness.
Double happiness. Chen, great movement up and down the field, both on the defensive look. Quick, active movement from her to get that block. Really, really quick hands there. And then on top of that, making a nice cut into the deep space to get the huck, receive the huck. And yeah, she's just been out there playing really, really great D. Hard focused, and that is going to be a big point for 613.
Yeah. We've talked about it a lot, and I don't want to bring it up any more than I have to. But I would say for now, the weather won't be playing much of a part in this next point, and I feel like it's dying down for a little while. We're still getting gusts here and there, but now I'm starting to feel that convection oven radiating heat from this turf field.
Yeah.
So it is getting hotter out here, calming down. Netchell struggling a little bit on the sideline, looking kind of tired after those big Ds, but he'll be all right. And going to see a D point here from 613. Wondering if we'll see a different look. And hey, Ultimate fans, if you're with it in social media and you like the things, I want you to pay attention to number 6 on the field right now for 613. It is the Theo Wan playing on the field for 613. Spawn seeming to have a chilly offense here. Brown looking for options, takes his time. Chorus is going to put that up. Brown is able to run it down even though it was a bit shallow. Now Spawn on the doorstep. Chorus goes up the line for him. Instead, a giant of a hammer from Brown, and everybody standing still, seeing some muscly arms from observer Walter Kwong, which means only one thing, pick called. And when we see someone that open in a vertical stack, there's probably a pick.
It's a little tough, right? So that seemed like a really, really great hammer and into wide open space, right? But like you said, wide open, not really contested there. I don't think that hammer would be as easy to catch if there was somebody even a few yards closer. All right, Clay.
Yeah, great throw by Brown, though.
Great throw, yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes all you need is a little bit of pressure. Those upside down throws are not easy to catch. As we carry on, seems like 613 and Spawn are trying to figure out what the stall count was at, so we can remain the same here. A little conversation with the observer, and seems like players in the stack are also chiming in as well now as we try to figure it out. So stall count is coming in at 3, Clay.
Straight up the line, but a read from 613. They saw that play coming, were able to break that up. I'll find out who got that D for you shortly because she's going deep, trying to run that down. But some wheels from Spawn to make sure that that hook wouldn't be complete, but it sure floated far. That was Fairweather saving that opportunity. Morehouse running out of time. He's going to look reset. Christensen gets it to Brown. Brown will put that up. Morehouse, with the great read. And McMacken there to back Spawn up for the hold. The score 3-2. Sab, I feel like we have a sports match on our hands.
Definitely. Morehouse working really, really hard for that throw, right? Immediately, as soon as he made the reset, sprinted deep, calling for the disc, begging for it. The 613 players on the sideline knew what was going to happen, right? But nothing you can do against that. Morehouse elevating in the air, using his height, using his vertical to bring that disc down, and finishing it off with a nice little dinky pass to McMacken.
So I'd like to see a zone look. I'd like to see something different.
Yeah.
You know, when you're trading like this and everything, the other team has shown you that on your D-line, they've been working up the field without much of a problem. You don't necessarily need to throw, and when I say zone, a lot of teams are like, oh, you want to throw a 3-3-1 on right now, and it's not necessarily, right? You can do a flat, you can do an FSU where you play match defense on the handlers and a zone downfield. You might poach in the lanes like with a very flat mark. You might even throw a slough or just for a moment to mess up their plays. We've seen both teams here running set plays off the pole. So I'm hoping from Spawn here, we just see something different that they throw at 613 to kind of throw a wrench in their plans.
Yeah, I definitely am looking forward to something like a slough look here off this giant pull downfield.
So it is match defense. Horizontal look from 613 here. Gainer.
Looking for a gainer downfield.
Gainer tosses that to Malik. Malik looking for options. Off the hands of Gainer. Sahab, I hate that pass. I hate throwing laterally to someone running fast vertically.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to make.
And yeah, not easy to throw a flick there, right? And as we say that, a big throw downfield.
Malik coming back for redemption, able to get that D. It seems there is no call. Body language is kind of fooling me there, but no call. So Prust will go pick it up. No options for Prust right now until Ewins goes up the line. Finds Netchell. Netchell thought about throwing it. Calls foul. Getting a reminder from Kamal on the sideline to call contact. If you get fouled and you call contact, the play doesn't stop. It just goes down to 0. Necho been playing for a while, perhaps had forgotten, but it doesn't matter. As he's open again, Necho, a dangerous thrower. Pressed. Her throw too low. She didn't like that execution. It looks like Galibois may have got a hand on that as well. Spawn walking away from the disc, giving their offense a chance to set up. Brown, the pivot in this Spawn offense.
Nice little toss over the shoulder for Brown.
For Murray. Goes to Dagla. Back to Brown. No surprises there. Brown looking for options. Finds Gallant, goes back to Brown, and then Emily Manuel with the first.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed
Oh,
that play. Sorry.
No. I with the downwind goal, I should have said the score 3-3. Sorry, Sahab, go ahead.
And I don't know if you noticed that, Clay, but Brown there elected to throw 3 lefty backhands. And one would think that she is a lefty herself, but she has been picking up the disc with her right hand every single time. She's just found a lot of great looks with this lefty backhand. And for those of you that don't know, it is not easy to be ambidextrous, right? So Brown able to make the moves, finding the space for her team, really commanding that offense.
Remember why I got excited? Because the score is 4-2 and Spawn increased their lead. I said 3-3.
That is a break.
Yeah. I wrote it down in the wrong thing. It's hot here, everybody.
And it's been a long day for us, Clay.
Well, it looks like 613 is having a conference while Spawn is on the line.
Yeah.
Number 37, Jenny Corus here on the line, doing her best break train impression. Kind of lackluster though, and it is a timeout for 613, which thought it was as they were conferencing in the middle of the field. It doesn't seem to be too. No clipboards, no fingers, no reenactments. So that looks like just a regrouping by 613 as their O-line, familiar staff, go back out.
Yeah, and I like this timeout call as a coach, right? You just got them broken again, and you are now going downwind here. You're on offense, right? This is a point that you want to score, right? This is one of those points where if the opposing team scores it, it really, really, really destroys your morale as a team, right? So I think it was a great choice for 613 to make that call. Not sure who on the team decided to call that, but whoever it was is probably a seasoned coach, a seasoned vet from Ultimate, right? And this is going to be an important point for whoever gets it. This could be one of the big turning points in a game that we've been talking about. As we have number 17 on Spawn.
Alex Brown.
Alex Brown with the pull.
Brown's pull landing at the brick.
A little low, but at the brick mark nonetheless. And a zone look now here for Spawn.
At last, seeing something different from these teams. Gainer finds Chen. Hearing the match defense call, the melt, get rid of the zone, just find a match, play person to person. 613 has some options as that transition from Spawn was kind of sloppy. Didn't really take much away in that transition, and Declan Gainer is able to just tiptoe into the end zone there. So 613 with the hold. The hold you wanted, the hold you also needed coming off a timeout.
Yeah, like you said, Gainer was just wide open there. Spawn was not quick enough on their transition out of the zone, and maybe this is why we haven't seen a zone look from them thus far, right? Maybe it's not something that they're really comfortable with. They're definitely looking really, really good on their match defense, on their person defense thus far. So it might be a good option for them to elect to stick with it when it's not windy. But going downwind here is going to be Spawn. They are on the favorite side of the field, as we like to say. And yeah, we have a female matching player on the pull here. since we do have, like Clay has been saying, our gender ratio is 4-3, female matching favorite. It has to be a female matching player on the pole.
We haven't seen a different defensive look from 613 yet. And with the conditions being calm, I would again like to see something a little bit more creative than match defense, as they haven't really shut down Spawn in just a one-on-one situations here. That pole just landing just beyond half will be picked up by Chorus. Doesn't like her options, asking for unders. McMacken obliges. She'll flip it to Christensen. Christensen looking for options. Has an IO to Frampton. Brown. He'll put that out for Morehouse, but a little bit of a miscue there as Morehouse looked like he was stuttering to come back under. He just jabbed his foot as Brown had put that up. So captain of co-captain of local 613, Katie Saborski, will grab the disc, bring it up. We see a vertical offense once again from 613. Looking for options. Juan. Throwing a big fake. His pass just inches away from a D, but it doesn't matter as he completes that. But the ensuing pass out to Sigurdsson is just too high. The trend we've seen from 613 today. Fairweather. Looking for options. Has Chorus. Chorus will put that back out for Fairweather. And lots of bodies in the area. Victoria McCann with the defensive play.
Yeah, and on the last defensive point for Spawn, we did notice that there was a little bit of a poachy look off the top of the stack here. Let's see if that happens again, since we're now switching over to horizontal.
Saborski brings that up once again. Cut start early. Love to see it. Not waiting for the disc to be tapped in. Michaels finds Saborski. She'll pitch that out to Becker. Back to Saborski. Saborski looking for a reset. Juan's available. Saborski looking upfield, finds Becker. Becker now looking for options. He'll flip it back to Saborski, who goes up the line. Sigurdsson wide open up the line, but not much of a gain. Looking for options. Sees Saborski. Saborski running out of time. Will just jack it deep. And Spawn comes up with it on that low throw. Chorus airs that out. Brown trying to toe the line, called out of bounds by observer Magnus. But it looks like Morehouse. Excuse me, that's not Morehouse, that's Becker. It came down a little hard. The turf not forgiving.
Yeah, and that's definitely not easy to make that layout attempt, right? That end of the turf does get really solid here. And with this kind of hot turf, it can be really painful, right? So as we get some substitutions in from both teams, we're going to continue on with the disc, bringing it all the way back up to about halfway mark.
So Netchel coming in for Becker. You see that little orange pylon on the field Netchel's walking towards? That's the observer marker showing where it went out of bounds. So that disc was out of bounds for a long time. Netchel fakes the flick. Finds Gainer underneath. And this pass is macked. Can it be kept in? No, it will go out the back. So thrown into a lot of coverage, perhaps not by design, but it is a little gusty, and that disc turns towards many, many bodies.
Yeah, and like you said, right, the wind is starting to pick up here. We're really going to see these throws going deep get picked up a little bit more than what you would expect, right? It's not going to be easy for either team.
Chorus finds a reset to Gallant. Chorus will unleash another huck. And great positional awareness. Morehouse able to get over his man. Brown will put up a buttery flick to Gallant.
Excellent throw there from Brown.
I think Kate Scarth taught him how to do that. A Victoria player who knows Brown pretty well. She had those buttery throws. That must have been where he learned it from. But great pass by him. And now Spawn with 5. Local 613 with 3. 2.
Did I miss a point?
It could be that I'm just terrible at this. I'm having a hard time.
Yeah. Well, as we carry on here, you should be able to see the score on the screen. But that play all started with Chorus, right? Chorus, she's been really, really consistent with those amazing hucks. And I really love this from Spawn. You don't see it that often with some of these teams play through their female matching players in the handler position, right? We saw the game of TT versus Red Flag earlier today. Both teams really opt to use their male matching handlers, right? They play through their male matching handlers and they expect their female matching handlers to run deep and strike. Whereas Spawn has really been showing the opposite, right? Playing through their female matching players on the handlers, right? They have some really reliable handlers in Brown, in Chorus, and they're able to strike deep. And it seemed like 613 was not ready for that pull. They kind of slowly
We're
walked
still
it
talking. Netcha will pick up. And Jessie Chen left all alone. And she'll pitch that laser forwards, but it's out of the reach of Quentin Malik.
Yeah, Jessie Chan absolutely launches that downfield. And a spare disc is being requested.
And brand new out of the packaging.
And that's going to be nice for sure because the disc, I saw it earlier, Clay, it has not been in good conditions. It has not been having a good time lately.
So number 10, number 10, that is Jonathan Murray. We'll bring that up. Spawn vertical offense. We're seeing a lot of vertical from each of these teams. A few horizontal looks here and there, but vertical being the choice today. Deg unloads a big backhand, 2 receivers, but it's going to float. 4 players underneath it. Netchel getting up and making the play.
A great defensive play from Netchel, and
seems to be a foul.
Foul call here.
Yeah, so I can't see which player that is, but he is arguing that Netchel went over the top while he was sort of leaning backwards. That's if Netchel goes straight up and the other player leans back, that is a hard case for Netchel to avoid, which is what he's arguing. So they do look for the observer ruling. Observer Nathan Magnus does agree that it wasn't a foul. It's a hard thing to argue that if I go up vertically and a player leans into me, but you can't always see what's happening behind you. And when you're contacted from behind, it's really natural, really normal to say, I think I got fouled.
Yeah, those are one of the hardest fouls to call, right? Especially when you don't have an observer that did get a better perspective and knows the rules a little bit better than most players do, right? A lot of times when you don't have the observers, that's going to get ruled a contest, and it's going to go right back into the hands of the initial thrower as we carry on with this game here.
Malik finds Chen in the middle. Chen will go back to Malik. That bounces off his hands. A tight throw, kind of low. I would have liked to seen that thrown a little bit earlier where Malik could have ran onto it. Deg looking for options. Finds Brown, of course. Brown will go back to Deg. Back to Brown. We did see this offense struggle to get some vertical progress, but Deg Brown start to get it down to 99. Don't have his name, but we'll get it for you. He'll pitch it out to Brown. Travel called by Netchel. Travels are supposed to be called when there is an advantage. I did feel that 99 there did kind of take an extra step to get completely around Netchel's mark. But no problem. He'll just flip it over Netchel's arms and gets the reset. Murray Go to Daigle. He's looking for options, has a reset up front of the stack. Push pass back to Brown. Brown to 99. He'll go back to Daigle. 6-1-3, pushing Spawn back here. It's what you want to be doing as a defense if you're not getting blocks, is pushing them back. Brown just snatches that away from her defender. Daigle. It's that up to Murray. And just shy of the end zone. Dupuis will get that back. Oh, and the IO flick is just a little low from Murray, and despite the bid, he's unable to reel it in. Netchel will slow things down here as he walks up to the disc, catching his breath, letting his players get in position. 6-1-3, getting set into a vertical. 6-1-3 knows Netchel can huck, as I see Riley Bradlin kind of creeping deep, waiting for that huck to go up.
And great defensive read.
Chen standing still.
Yeah, Daigle, nice look. Daigle knew exactly what was going to happen there, absolutely baiting that throw out, waiting patiently in the wings.
Murray will get that around, and it is ruled a goal. Spawn opening up their lead 6-3.
Yeah, and that's another big break for Spawn, right? They're super excited to have that one. And yeah, Daigle continues to make those smart defensive looks, right? Daigle, like I said, absolutely baiting out that throw and just super excited. And Murray able to redeem himself a little bit there, getting that throw, picking it up, finding a nice little break for the score for Spawn. As we see Clay on the field trying to figure out who number 99 is from Spawn, just trying to make sure that we get the right name called. And now Spawn on the down one defense. Let's see if they bring out a zone look like we were talking about. I'd honestly love to see something a little bit different, something to disrupt this set play that has been coming from 6-1-3, right? Something maybe along the lines of an FSU, right? It's pretty popular to see FSUs in mixed matching ultimates. And yeah, personally, one of my favorite zones to play, both in competitive.
Super ultimate.
Yeah.
Fun, super ultimate. Fun, super ultimate. So 99 on Spawn, that was Jacob Savoie, who was doing all that work and then got the goal. Didn't have him on our list, but he gets his credit. A great point for him. 6-1-3 on offense now. Gainer with the disc. He'll find Becker. Netchel with the slash cut. Puts up a flick huck, a great leading pass. And it is just a little too low for Whitman. She makes the play. It looks like we said the turf is unforgiving, so she's a little shaken up.
Yeah, an injury called there. She just needs a moment to catch her breath, right? Trying to figure out who's going to take over for her, and it seems like it's going to be Chen walking onto the field for her, and we have
that's number 36, Natalie Gomez,
Fairweather
going off, for Fairweather to come on.
Fairweather coming on for Gomez.
I like that matchup with Chen, both quite speedy.
Yeah, definitely really, really fast there. As we have number 17, Alex Brown picking it up for Spawn.
Brown finds Gallant, looking for options. Well, bobbled a little bit by Brewster, but he keeps it alive.
Great composure by Brewster there.
Patiently waits for Brown to get open. Brown will unleash a flick huck. O'Neill reaches around the shoulders of his defender, Peter Galbraith. And a quick give-go from Galibois to number 55, Andre Gallant. And Spawn with another break, extending their lead 7-3.
Yeah, and Galbraith just wasn't ready for that, right? You did hear the up calls from the sidelines, but no hands went up. Galbraith didn't get a chance to look back, and that could just be from exhaustion, right? It's hard, not only chasing down, they're trying to keep up, but also it's hot, right? It's hot, and that exhaustion really, really takes away from your heads-up play on the field. And as we see, both teams getting set up. Score is now 7-3 in favor of Spawn. Spawn definitely excited for that one, getting another break into their back pockets.
So I'm hoping if I'm a 613 fan, that their energy can keep up in this. We're seeing a lot of personnel remain on the field for them right now. Quentin Malik, Trevor Netchell. And then otherwise, it's kind of a fresh line, but and Ben Sigurdsson. But, right now, it seems that 613 has shortened their bench somewhat and is having trouble making things stick. Maybe I don't want them to get a little bit desperate, but maybe it's just, we have to just say to themselves, we just have to play the ultimate we know, making some mistakes with high throws.
Yeah, and it's hard to kind of limit your bench like that, right? As we continue back onto this game.
Ewens looking for options. Has Juan. Juan doesn't like those looks, throwing some pump fakes, trying to get people all the way. He'll swing that around to Netchell. Netchell's going to unload a flick huck to Sigurdsson, who was calling for it, and Sigurdsson jumps. Not in, though. He kept a foot on the line.
And you can hear some unhappy people on the sideline there.
If I may, though, Observer Kwong right on the line, able to make that crowd. And then, kind of the peanut gallery across the field from us with a different angle disagreeing with the call. But it didn't really matter. And that's because once Sigurdsson got that, Carolyn Ewens was there to back him up immediately. A good teammate getting down for him right away so that he could just easily flip that in. And it's still a statistic. He gets a point with the assist, so not a big deal.
Clay, do you want to guess who that was not happy about that call from the Observer?
Well, I don't know if I want to say it on tape, but I think it rhymes with Dead Merkus.
Ooh, not quite. Dead Merkus is on the opposite side, but I think a hometown team might be the ones that were a little bit more unhappy about that one.
Oh, an angry kind of primate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not that one either.
Oh, okay. I'm going to stop guessing.
About the angry primate. An open team has to do with Super Mario, perhaps. They were not happy about that.
Oh, the hometown of 613.
Yes.
Perhaps some plumbing being had.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll stop speculating as 613 with the pull here. Need a break to really stay in this half, as Spawn could take it the half with this goal, because it will be a half at 8 points. Brown picks up, seeing a slough now for 613. I'm enjoying to see something different. It's going to slow them down. Christensen, his pass is knocked away. All right, different defensive look. Galbraith flips that forward. Little give-go back and forth with Michaels. Michaels has a wide open Becker. No one on him still, no count, so he'll have lots of time. Goes back to Saborski. Saborski finds Campbell. Campbell right back up the line. And Galbraith's cut not there. But the big swing to Whitman is. She'll put that to Galbraith. Galbraith with the IO flick to Becker. He'll just place that perfectly to a receiver around the bidding defender of Spawn, and 613 getting a very, very important break to stay in that game. That was Seth Porter with the goal.
Yeah, and that's the break that you were talking about that 613 really needed, right? They're definitely getting excited now. 2 points back-to-back, scoring an upwind point. And yeah, that's what they need. So they're going to be looking for another one. That slough look really working out for them, right? That initial throw to Christensen, not able to directly meet his target. We had a thrower try to get through that little sloughy look of the sort of cup that was set up. And yeah, just wasn't thrown as intended. And yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more from 613 of that kind of zone, right? Those little looks.
And you know what, we might, because now, 613 was not getting any luck with the just 1v1 match defense, nothing special they were doing earlier. They just did something a little bit different. Just the slightest change, but a completely different look with that slough. And in the front, I should say, a different look in the front. And by doing so, actually generated a turnover. So now, naturally, they're going to go back to something where we can make a small adjustment, but totally change the complexion of the way Spawn plays. So this pole has been typically going deeper thanks to the wind. It is gusting left to right at the moment, so good timing for Kate Zaborski as her pole gets down past the brick and puts the disc pretty deep, but Spawn is able to center it immediately to Chorus. And we're seeing a zone look now. Zone look from 613. But Chorus able to turn on the jets, get it up to Fairweather, and she gets it back, kind of just shredding it. And I'm hearing the melt call from 613 sideline as they match up here.
Oh, nice
Gallant
around there.
finds Daigle. He'll get it to Chorus. Brown lays out to pick that one up. That was a little low.
By Brown. Brown hammering it.
That hammer we saw from Brown earlier was taken back on a pick, but this time perfectly placed for Andre Gallant. And Spawn having a run at this tournament, takes half, 8-5 over local 6-1-3. Sahab going into half now. We did see a different defensive look from 6-1-3 there. What big adjustment are you going to want to see next half from 6-1-3?
Yeah, I want to see 6-1-3 get a little bit tighter with that defensive look, right? A little bit tighter on the slough. Get rid of the match defense because it's not really working, and try to shut down what Spawn has to say about the big hucks downfield, right? Those big hucks have really been working out for Spawn. And yeah, they're both showing big hucks downfield, and also little inside touchy passes are possible for both this team. So on the last point, a little bit of a nice find from Chorus to break that slough zone. But if 6-1-3 tightens up, it should be much more difficult.
All right, we're going to take a break. It's an 8-minute half, so we'll be back with you in about 5. And you can join us for our final half of the day in this mixed crossover matchup. Welcome back, Ultimate fans. Second half action in our mixed division here at the Canadian Ultimate Championships 2023 edition, the senior phase of our tournament. This tournament is sponsored by two major sponsors I want to mention. We've got Discraft sponsoring this tournament, supplying us with some of the most important equipment we need, the game discs, to play this sport we love. And B Ultimate Apparel, B Apparel. It's such nice shirt I'm wearing. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love B.
Yeah, this polo is pretty sick. And staff gave this to me to do my job, and I went and checked out their tent, and they had some really cool stuff to look at. You can go to their tent at the tournament to buy stuff, or you can go online if you don't make it down here and there's something you want to get from this tournament. We're starting this half with Local 613 from Ontario pulling the disc to Spawn from New Brunswick. Spawn is leading this game 7-4. And Netchel is going to start us off here with the pull. He has been a force this game so far, but Spawn has been working so well as a team, running it through some pretty pivotal handlers like Chorus, who just fields the disc. And we see a slough, or a zone, I should say, look from 613. That's the second time a slough or zone look has caused a quick turnover for 613 here. I think they're realizing that a non-match defense is working out for them. Saborski comes over to the disc to grab it. Fairweather on the mark. Saborski looking for options, has Netchel. Netchel is able to find an upfield backhand to Becker. Becker pipes that to Malik, who goes to Netchel. Netchel to Saborski. She'll go right back to Netchel and go up the line. And Netchel will find another backhand around, and 613 making it look effortless as Avery Michaels is able to just flip that to TC coach Peter Galbraith.
Yeah, and it seems like Peter Galbraith confident in letting his players spike it, as he shows himself with a nice little spike.
Yeah,
I hope he's not being hypocritical and telling his players not to spike the disc.
No, I think Galbraith is trying to fire up his team right now. He'll stay on for this D-line. And that brings our score to 8-6. 613 coming out of the half with some fire, with a break. Really good. I mean, not just for the numbers, but mentally, really what they need right now, as they want to keep themselves fired up. They don't want to lose that energy. They want to start this half with some momentum. I'd say getting that break is great, because they're saying to themselves, we're down. Like, we really need to make something happen. The celebration wasn't that loud, but you know what? They're getting this one 2 in a row off half. You're going to see Spawn put their heads down, hang out a little bit, be a little disappointed, and 613 is going to go nuts. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be the pivotal point in the game right now.
And I always say halftime teams are teams that win games, right? The score could be down by 5, and if you're a strong halftime team, you can bring it back.
This pull is sailing just far, but it stays inbounds. Chorus picks that up, and she'll do a give-go with Gallant. Deg, he's looking for options again. A zone look. 613 doing a great job of trying to find the options, but Brown is left alone deep. But 613 still kind of keeping that formation as a unit to get in the way. Degla is able to find Chorus in the middle. Some give goes as Galibois gets the disc back to Chorus. Chorus has Degla up the line, it seems. 613 is floating into a match defense, but there's some blown coverage here. There's 2 Spawn players against 1 613 player. That's not fair. And eventually, 613 is able to match up to stop that give-go from happening. Degla. Ooh, it sneaks that upfield throw. Nice, and that eventually gets around to Fairweather. Degla has Chorus up the line. He puts it, floats it out for her, and Chorus effortlessly brings that in. Spawn with the hold after getting broken, trying to keep 613 from going, or they do keep 613 from going on a run.
Yeah, and Clay, you see that hold, right? It may not feel like a very important thing, but this is one of those vital moments, right? Just as you were saying at the beginning of the point, if Spawn does get scored on here, hits another, gets broken again, right? That's one of those moments where your heads are down. Even though you're still ahead by 2, you might get a little bit complacent, right? You might be thinking, hey, we're still back in this before you even realize you're down by 2. Right, Clay?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's 6-1-3. Everyone's going to try and score. All right. Like, I get that. It's not as if a team is like, well, we can let them get one more before we turn it on. But there's some points where you feel a little bit more pressure and say, amongst all the points this other team could score, this one is where we really got to buckle down and concentrate, because if we let this one drop, they're going to feel like they're back in it. We'll be giving them more than just another tick on the board. We'll be giving them momentum. We'll be giving them spirits. They'll think they can still, quote unquote, win the game, right? So when you have that lead, you're like, man, sometimes you got to think which points are actually going to tell the story of this game versus then just be numbers on paper.
Yeah. Looking forward to see what Spawn has to bring out here, if they're going to bring out a different defensive look, or if it's just going to be match defense once again.
Gainer in the middle.
And it seems like we're just going to look into some match defense now with a little bit of a poach down by the break side lane.
Oh, a bidding. Rhea Palmer keeps that alive for 6-1-3.
Excellent athletic form there.
She finds Malik, who will flip it to Ewens. Ewens looks off Malik. She sees something developing, and this is a retracted call. So I think Ewens made a call after the fact, but then retracted it. Anyway, Chen with the disc. Oh, and her pass just mistimed with Malik's cut, and Spawn getting a chance at a break here. Brown. We get it to Degla, who has also been a pivot handler in this game. He's looking at a big throw. He's got that stance. He doesn't like it. Instead, he finds Sylvie Dupuis. Degla goes up the line. Now he's going to put it. Savoie gets up positionally, but Kamal is there to throw a hand in. From what I saw, Sahab, from my best perspective, sitting at this table with a pole in my way and several other players in my way, I don't think it was a foul. So that is retracted.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised about that retracted call, right? So just a quick conversation is all you need. And sometimes it's important to make those calls and have those conversations, right?
Yeah, I mean, it gives players a chance to retract a call if they do believe they were wrong. So good spirit shown there. Gainer in the middle. Chen. Some quick flips. Gainer catching that. Degla can't believe it. And Gainer's going to put that up to Malik. I know I see Degla going over to Gainer and just trying to figure out exactly what happened. He thought he had that D for sure, but Gainer catching that fluttery disc. That was funny.
Quite impressive, to be honest, by Gainer. Quick hands, right? Recognizing that disc came down, he brought his hands in together and just was able to clasp that in, right? And like you said, right, even we on the sideline here were quite surprised.
Quite surprised.
That made it back into Gainer's hand.
So the score now, Spawn 9, Local 613 7, 2-point game. If this is the first featured match on our stream here that you're watching, you might not know that our cap will go off at 5:55 for this game. They're 85-minute slots. However, the only hard caps in this tournament are in the finals. And so the rest of these games are soft cap. That means you have to score to win. So at 55, if we get to 5:55, a horn will go off. Once the current point finishes, we'll do an imaginary addition to the highest score, and the game will be to whatever number that is. But you have to score to win. You cannot run out the clock. You can definitely run out the clock and hold a point advantage, but it's not as if you can call timeouts and just wait for the cap to go off to win.
Yeah, and I love that rule, to be honest.
Brown, vertical offensive set. He'll move that around to Christensen. Pretty deep vertical stack from Spawn right now. I'm hearing them. They need to get closer. Chorus with the disc now. She'll have a reset to Christensen. Juan on the mark. Goes over his hands, the high release. Brown now looking for options. He has chorus. He wanted something else, but he'll take the free reset. Chorus not seeing a lot of options, so she'll go back to Brown. 6-1-3, pushing them backwards. Brown loads up, but it's a fake. He doesn't throw it. Christensen, he'll load that up and fire it. And it's Brown and Netchell in the deep now. Some backup coming for Spawn. Netchell going for the position, but you see that backup from Galen McMacken gets it done. That is why you don't stop and stare and ogle at the play, Sahab.
Lovely heads-up play from McMacken there to recognize that that disc is going to float for a while, right? She brought herself into that play, and we love to see that. And honestly, when that disc came up, I was a little bit worried there. Netchell is not the guy that you want in the deep space to go up against, right? He's been making those amazing defensive plays thus far. And yeah, personally, if I was in that deep space, I would not be happy that that throw was thrown because I don't want to get skied.
I don't want to get skied either. And against Netchell, I mean, it's coming. But you know what? Brown, though, has also shown some big athleticism. I think that was 50-50.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know, Al Brown has been playing, or Alex Brown, excuse me, has been playing great this game. And it was interesting that, you know, they kind of played positionally on each other and none of them getting it. And McMacken just having a far better read on the disc to make a play.
Yeah, and I looked forward to seeing what Spawn brings out here. At the last point, we did see a little bit of a poachy
right
on the break side, right? And I want to see if they do bring out something of the sorts or bring out something a little bit different. They were playing really, really poachy around the middle of the field and allowing those resets to come through. We'll see if we see that once again. And this is a huge pull, making it all the way to the back of the end
great
zone,
pull.
landing in field.
Netchell in the middle. He'll move that disc up quickly to Gaynor. Gaynor's got an option. That throw to Malik. Oh, Malik Billing just maybe a microsecond too late. The edge on this disc was floating towards him. Dag picks up. And there's a pick call. I'm a little confused as to when it happened, but it looks like it was on number 14, Alex Brewster there, called by Bryson Vesnaver. So, see, looking at this vertical, it's very interesting how Dagla is right on the goal line, and the vertical stack stretches all the way back to half with Brown at the back. So I imagine she'll be coming under quite fast to get it. But a timeout is called. I'm a little curious as to why. Why would you call that timeout?
I'm not sure. I honestly really like the way that Spawn was set up in their offense look, right? They didn't have a reset, but a reset could have quickly been given there. Or even a huckle could have happened, right? The Spawn players were definitely set up in that sort of position to get something to go big.
And obviously, since you and I, you know, are the authority on when timeouts should be taken and how they should be taken.
100%.
There can't be any other reason why they might take this. But you know what? Perhaps it was we've noticed a deficiency in local 613's defense, and maybe we have to make sure that everybody on right now sees it. I do see Alex Brown coming into the huddle and kind of giving a rundown to all those players. So it could be that they just have some different personnel and say, hey, we want you to do this particular thing because it's been working. And you know what? I wonder, too, if Deg knew that and maybe thought, hey, once we get possession, if we get possession, let's call a timeout and bring everybody up to speed. But let's get the D first.
Yeah.
So they do set up in that vertical offense again. They are changing positions a little bit. I'm seeing Chorus at the back of the stack now instead of Brown, who's been another confident handler. And O'Neal at the front, who's been showing a lot of speed and athleticism this game.
So we could see a little bit of cutting pairs happening here, especially since we have Chorus at the back of the stack. Chorus opting to go into the break side.
Well, that was Manuel at the back, I'm sorry.
Puck.
Oh, good read by Galibois, excuse me. She's looking for options. She finds Deg. And Galibois getting it done. She has been a force this game. Spawn extends their lead to 11. And Local 613 with 7. Spirits are high for Spawn.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but that was a little bit of a Moses play. I'm not sure if that's what you would call it, but both halves of the Spawn stack started to split there, and a big came down as we saw a running Galibois, Galibois, going into the end zone. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing what Spawn can do here. Was that a break, Clay?
I believe it was a break.
Yeah.
You know, some of these points go so long, I get so excited sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? Whether it was a hold or break, it was a momentum point for Spawn. I mean, you saw them celebrate and everything. 613 is quiet.
Definitely.
Right now, so it certainly felt like a break. So
yeah. It was an important momentum break, right? And this is where we're going to see teams really start to come out, right? They're going to be players who are tired, and they're going to be players who are just explosive at this point in the game, right? So still anybody's game. Ready to see this pull, and looking forward to seeing what kind of sets Spawn has for this defensive look.
Gainer picks up. He'll flip that to Saborski. Back to Gainer. Gainer will throw a lofty pass to Netchel. Netchel climbs the ladder to bring that down. Flips it to Becker. And Netchel will center that, and the disc works its way around to Gainer. Gainer back to Saborski. Her team encouraging her to be calm. She has lots of time. Netchel resets to Netchel. Netchel will go back to her. Saborski doesn't like those looks. We'll flip to Netchel. Netchel looks to the break side, has Gainer. He'll toss that out to him. Nice leading pass for Gainer to run onto uncontested. Gainer will go back to Netchel. Netchel break side to Saborski. Saborski lays out and keeps that alive.
Yeah, I love how both players knew exactly what they needed to do there.
Little spin cut by Netchel, and he will sell everybody on that open side and then find Becker. So an offensive set, run in tandem.
Nice clean hold there for 613. Love to see that. Great movement, great handler touches there. A lot of great cuts from 613. And, you know, that's just that key moment there, like we were saying. Saborski able to get that layout catch to save that play, right? Making sure that she's putting her body on the line. Just as I was saying, right? You're going to see players who are exhausted, and you're going to see players like Saborski who are still fired up, excited, and explosive as she is back on the field there, ready to make the pull.
Speaking of back on the field, we did start to see some different personnel from Spawn, but now we're seeing the O-line that we saw very much at the beginning of the brain. Brown is back out there. Chorus is back out there. Fairweather. We've got Frampton out there. McMacken, who had the earlier big pickup. Christensen. And I believe Morehouse. So, you know, more of a standard O-line here from
very familiar
Spawn.
O-line here for Spawn. And I'd love to see if they have a set play for us here to get this quick point.
I'm expecting some sort of slough here from 613 as they have been trying to break up those set plays. It is a set play. They hop into a split stack. That's a Jets go. Two players going across the field with the deepest coming under.
Brown not happy about that.
Brown's going to take off. Fairweather's not going to throw it. Pump fakes that. Finds Frampton underneath. She'll flip that forwards, and this time Brown all alone in the end zone. Takes his time and just cradles the disc into his hands. Shows his team that he made the catch. Thank you for that, Al. We did see. But an all-around clinical offensive point by Spawn there.
And that one's kind of scary. You know, a little bit of showboating there. I've had a good friend of mine, Jeremy Hill, make a mistake there. Ooh. Wide open in the end zone. Get a little bit of a flip there. And those do happen, right? We saw it. We saw it yesterday where we had a couple of catches that seemed like they were quite easy. Not connect, right? These clap catches, these pancake catches, if your hands are a little bit off, they're going to bobble and flip right out of your hands.
Do you know who I'd hate to be right now?
Who?
Jeremy Hill.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, we see players do that. They want to show off. They're on the stream sometimes, or sometimes they want to show off to the crowd. And man, if that gets you, but you know what? Brown feeling it. That's the other side. If he's going to ball like that and show everybody that he's in business, I mean, that cut, he was wide open. And if he's feeling it, I mean, I support the energy, but don't mess it up.
Oh, yeah. And that's the worst feeling, too, right? When you drop those, as we see a nice high pull from Brown, really, really airing out there, all the way to the brick mark.
Netcha will pick up. Seeing a horizontal offense here from 613. They've been switching it up all game. Oh, and that is just snuck through to Sophie Prest. She'll center that to Ewens. Netchell is going to put a backhand hook out to Gaynor. No one in the area. A late bid from Brown, but she can't make up the gap. And 613 will just float that in. Kind of quiet on the sideline. I mean, our score now is 12-9. And that was a really clean offense by 613, but I think they're feeling the spread in points right now. We're 10 minutes away from the soft cap. So, I mean, 3-point lead, 10 minutes to soft cap. It's really not impossible.
Yeah.
For 613 to come back in this game. This 3-point lead is certainly not enough to be comfortable, especially in a game where you have to score to win. We did see earlier in our streaming when we saw Quake and Pipe play. Quake broke 3 times to win on Universe over Pipe on our feature field. So nothing is out of reach right now.
It's not impossible, as you said, Clay. And I'd like to see something different here from 613, right? And we've seen their kind of slough looks. We've seen this kind of zone looks that they've been putting, right? It was starting to work against Spawn. And I want to see 613 really shut down the deep space for Spawn, right? Making sure that those hucks aren't coming through and making it uncomfortable.
I'd also like to see a plan to deal with Chorus or Fairweather.
Yeah.
Just because they have kind of been taking over both as a handler or in the lanes respectively. Yeah. And we do see a zone here look from 613. Chorus will swing that around to Gallant. He'll flip that back to Chorus. They do a good go. Gallant with the long under, and Galbraith with the layout D. Getting it done for his team to start this break. He'll tap it in and flip that. Saborski, and he'll get it back. Yeah. And he moves that around.
To the Team Canada athletes.
That's right. Sigurdsson looks for Saborski up the line. Good soft pass there, easy to field. Those ones can be tight. Becker. He finds Malik. Malik looking for options. We'll go back to Saborski. Galbraith all alone. Swings that around to Becker. Becker pointing to Galbraith. Galbraith fights through a little contact, continuing to kind of get open at will here in the backfield. He'll flip that just outside of the end zone to Malik. And Sigurdsson brings it down. A break for local 613. The score now 12-10. The trend in this game, Sahab, every single time 613 throws a non-match defense, they get some sort of defensive result.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard on the sideline there, we have Mad Circus requesting a hammer to be thrown. And I myself have been on the other end of that, requesting the hammers during the showcase game for the juniors between the Vortex women and Team Manitoba. I was in the stands screaming at the top of the lungs, requesting some hammers to be shown. Unfortunately, no hammers in sight.
You know that meme out there, like, you know, when you let the insidious thoughts or the bad thoughts win?
Yeah,
you let the bad thoughts in? Yeah, you let the intrusive thoughts in. Thank you. I'm an old man. But when you let those intrusive thoughts in, I can't think of a better way to describe Red Circus.
See, I love that. I love when you get the sideline kind of chirping, or not the sideline, more the stands chirping a little bit. It brings a little bit more of an excitement to the game. And it really shows the interest between the sideline players, right? These players are currently in the tournament themselves. As you can hear Spawn kind of screaming over me with their cheer.
Netchel's pull
Big pull by Netchel.
is fielded by Chorus. Brown will flip that back to Chorus. Another zone look by 613. I know you and I want to see this. We've seen 613 getting some results. We love to see the game get closer. Hard not to root for them to make this drama-filled ending to this game. And the run through D by Bryson Vesnaver, and then a quick flip from Netchel to Chen brings this game within one. Once again, seeing a zone look from 613. The score now 12-11, and it's a 1-point game. We're 6 minutes away from our soft cap. Man, 613, the surge near the end of this game, Sahab, just amazing to see.
Yeah, 613 definitely back in good spirits, right? We did notice a few points ago they were kind of down on their luck, but now they're excited. They're happy. They're getting these breaks. They are feeling like they're back in the game as we see a timeout call from Spawn. And that is a exhilarating one if you are a 613 fan, right? It kind of brings the pressure into Spawn.
Yeah, I mean, they're not cheering for it. And if I might add, I hate it when your opponent cheers when you call a timeout. But you know what? This is a mental win.
Yeah.
For 613. They have caused this timeout. It's not as if, Spawn is saying to themselves, hey, like earlier, remember when they got that D and they said, okay, now let's set up a plan? That's not this kind of timeout. This timeout is, things are getting kind of dicey here, and 613 is at us, and 613 is just circling in the water now. Sharks after the spawn, if you will. Sorry, I'm terrible, but I can't help it. But so Spawn trying to recollect, slow down the momentum of 613 here, need to show some composure here, not as if they're not, but I mean, this is the time to show that professionalism, that focus, kind of slow the roll of local 613 because they have all the energy right now.
Yeah, and I see comments in the chat asking for some fun facts from Netchel, if you have any.
Oh, fun facts from Netchel? When I first started playing with Trevor, he was wearing a hat and sometimes a helmet quite often, and I asked him why, and it's because people started calling him Patches. And he asked, I asked him, well, why are you getting called Patches? And then he took off his hat, and his hair was a checkerboard. He didn't like it. So if you're from Ontario and you haven't found a nickname sticking for Netchel yet, go with Patches.
Great nickname.
So this pull going to land just after half. It's going to be fielded by Daigle, who's been an absolute pivot offensive player, and some blown coverage against Al Brown, who just went deep immediately. So Spawn with an easy chance here. Doesn't like the look to Fairweather. He's going to reset. He's got Chorus, and Chorus has a wide open Daigle. He's going to milk that a little bit and get it straight to Fairweather. So Spawn needing that quick hold, and they get it. The score now 13-11, Spawn over 613, but we're still going. 3 minutes until soft cap. So not out of reach yet, but no matter what, Spawn is only 2 points away, and it could even be less from the win here, while local 613 is going to need at least 3 goals in order to win.
Yeah, and you could see on the sideline we have Halifax's Red Circus hyping up Spawn here. It's quite exciting, right? You love to have fans on the sideline, and personally, this could be anybody's game. It's a great game thus far. Both teams have been able to go back and forth. 613 able to find the nice breaks that they need, right? And we're getting close to that time cap, right? But
yeah.
We know that doesn't mean the end of the game.
No.
So,
the winner of this game will be going to quarterfinals against BC's Blaze. Blaze is a kind of a throw-together team, a classic revisit of a juniors team.
Yep.
So winner will be facing off against a hometown team. And looking forward to bring you coverage or updates from games tomorrow. But this one's not over. And Brown's pull is going to land at about 613's brick mark, fielded by Netchell, and he centers to Gaynor. Gaynor doesn't like the look to Chen on the one side, but she cuts back to the break side. He flips it to her. She sends it to Netchell. Netchell offhand gets it to Chen. She had that, immediately agrees with her check that the catch was indeed made. I believe that was Dupuis. Excuse me. No, that was, yeah, Dupuis. And Dagla, seeing the pass to Gaynor kind of telegraphed. He loads up for some hucks, but elects not to go for it. Pitches it back to Brown.
This time, Gaynor not getting it from Dagla.
Savoie.
Oh. And
Gaynor goes down.
Limping off the field now is Gaynor.
Yeah, got up right away, though, on his own power. So that's a good sign. We'll see number 13, Peter Galbraith, come in for him. Stalling 3 on the mark, I believe. And Savoie asks for a sub, which he can do. If one team makes an injury sub, the other team is allowed to match the number of subs they need to make. Al Brown will pick up. Netchell making sure everybody's having a good time. Taps it in. Brown looking for Brown.
Shooting deep.
Yeah, he did want to go to Jesse Brown there, but that throw kind of low and does not connect. Galbraith allowing his team to set up into a horizontal set, wants them where they can start their cuts well. Instead, he'll swing it immediately to Netchell, who gets that to Malik. Malik looking for some options. Netchell comes across the middle using that speed. Palmer puts that to Chen, but it gives the turf a haircut, causing a turnover. Malik calling a force away as number 10, Murray, unloads to Dagla. Galbraith falls, so Dagla has an opportunity. And he puts that to who else but Galibois, who has been a scoring machine for Spawn today.
And that is game point now for Spawn.
Yeah.
Taking it up to 14-11.
Yeah, so no matter what, it is a game to 15. You have to score to win. So we're at minute 87, but it is score to win, right? So we usually finish games at 15. Because the cap went on during that point, we would have added 1 to the highest score at the conclusion of the point. It was 14 at the conclusion of the point. So we do add 1. It's 15 anyway. So we are playing to 15. But, there are some teams out there that have come back from a deficit like this. You never know what's going to happen. Furious George, 2012 Nationals in Victoria, BC against General Strike. General Strike was winning that game 14-11. You know what the final score was? 15-14 for Furious. So you never know. You never know. But I'm thinking if I'm Spawn right now, I probably want to throw something disruptive at 6-1-3. While my match defense has been working, 6-1-3 probably isn't saying, oh, we're just going to flow. That's been working. They'll likely come down with a set play and a plan. So I want to see Spawn come out down with something disruptive to stop any set play off the pole.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that, right? And it could be pretty scary because Spawn has not been able to have a dedicated answer to 6-1-3 zone, right? So if 6-1-3 does get this point, they're going to be back on defense, and they're going to be able to put that zone up against Spawn. That's been working quite well for them. And we're going to see what happens here as we're going to make our way all the way over to the brick mark now.
Not surprised to see Netchell bring up in center. He has been the center point handler for this team today, along with Saborski and Gaynor. Netchell will put that far out for Kamal. Kamal gets the read on it as it started to fade and is able to kind of slow his roll to grab that. He'll put that out in front of Malik. Malik over to Saborski. Saborski running out of time. Needs an option. She'll put up a hammer. Netchel. Oh, with the big athletic layout. A hard one to get as that was pretty bladey still, so it just bounces off of his hand. Brown's going to pick up.
Great athletic effort from Netchel there.
Brown thought about making the hut. Instead, gets it to Brewster. Flips it to Brown. Jessie Brown, that is, looking for options. She has Gallant helping her out. Gallant's going to air that out for Al Brown. Brown with the grab. It is in. The win for Spawn. They will move on to quarterfinals. You feel the energy of Spawn just on an amazing run this tournament. They will face BC Blaze tomorrow in quarterfinals. Spawn will place in the top 8 of this tournament. Local 613 will move down into the 9th place bracket, playing for 9, 10, 11, or 12th.
Yeah, and like I said earlier at the beginning of this game, Spawn has really been able to play through their female matching handlers, and 613 just didn't have an answer to that. Teams that are able to have those stronger female matching handlers, able to move it effectively, find the gaps, get those big hucks in, are these mixed teams that do end up winning these sort of games, right? These sort of tight, evenly, physically matched games. It's going to come down to how well the handlers can move it together. And Spawn just taking over for majority of this game.
Spawn showing some depth in their abilities. They will move on to quarterfinals. Congratulations to them. Join us tomorrow and keep an eye on the stream schedule. We are going to feature lots of games for you tomorrow. I'm excited for tomorrow's. We've seen a lot of movement in this tournament, Saab. So please keep an eye on that schedule and join us tomorrow for the next phase of the 2023 Senior Division Canadian Ultimate Championships. I'm Clayton Howlett with my colleague Sahab Ansari. Tune in tomorrow.
Thanks for coming.